knife.
Right? No, so yeah, you're answering it. You're saying no, for the bris milah, it's so important. There the knife needs it. Yeah. Anyways, okay. Are we ready to roll?
You didn't start. Where are you starting from? I can't make it to you tonight.
I'm trying.
Should we postpone it?
You did the Kriya Shema already, Naftali?
I do it now. When you come, we'll do it.
I come. I'm not getting there till probably you're sleeping. Unless he's staying up all night. You doing it all night?
So much. Am I supposed to stay up all night? I want to. Do I have to go to the mikvah?
For the baby.
You have to go to the mikvah? Minigas go to the mikvah, yeah.
But what do we do about COVID?
That I can't tell you. That you're going to have to decide.
Go to the beach.
Oh.
Can I don't know if I can ask a question on a recorded line. I want to ask if you went before yours.
Of course I did. I didn't have any brisim during COVID, as far as I know, though.
Okay, so what's your psak? What should I do tomorrow?
So I told you go to the beach, no?
Yeah, go to the beach. Go beach.
I went swimming yesterday, Naftali, no?
It's rather warm. Should you? I don't know. You got to ask the doctors if they say it's safe. Ich weiß nicht. I don't know. I think the oilam's going to mikveh. I think, as far as I know.
When we discussed it, I thought you said it was okay in general.
What's okay? Yeah, it seems like this. It seems like they're saying that it's okay. That's what it seems like. They're saying the mikveh's okay.
Naftali, you invite your Chassidish friends laying down with Langer for Bachnach tonight? You didn't invite them? You didn't put up steaks for them? Come on.
The little kids, but they're not that little.
Not little kids.
You didn't invite me. I go to the mikveh Shabbos. I'm great.
Okay, parents, I think you have to re-record.
Yeah, just highlight that section.
Look at Parrots enjoying himself eating a tomato. You think he only eats meat. Look at that. There's a riot right there, everybody. Tune in. Parrots is eating a tomato.
What's a tomato?
I'm not so sure myself.
It's a tomato. It's a tomato with chili lime sauce. Spice. Delicious. I'm telling you guys how to try it. Chili lime spice.
Your Parrots, you'll have to have it by the siyum.
I thought about it. The Donald's going to think I'm too cheap.
Tell them it's meat. Tell them it's a new type of meat. It's called
it's not the main. It's not the main course. It's not the main course.
Isn't there such a thing as a beef tomato?
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, very good. There you go. All right. Okay.
Tomato,
let's go.
actually.
What?
A beef steak tomato.
Now noch besser. There you go. Okay. All right, let's go. We gave the oilam enough time to get on. So the chazer from yesterday. So we had all these kashas on Rabbi Yochanan's shita, which is that an eruv, the objects that are in the yard from before Shabbos. So Rabbi Yochanan says even if they made an eruv with each other, then you're still allowed to carry it. Then we had the case of two houses bordering on a destroyed house. One makes an eruv and one doesn't. And then we had the mission of a large yard bordering on a small yard and a large roof bordering on a small roof. Baruch Hashem, my kid didn't go to school today, and I had him instead of whatever. He put together a nice Lego for tonight's daf. So I hope it works. Whatever. I guess got to do something if he's not in school. Yeah. So then we had the whole sugi of the small yards being part of the large yards and not the large yards being part of the small yards. We had 5 different cases, right? We said about davening with a minyan in the large yard and the chazan in the small yard, and vice versa. Half the minyan in the large yard, the other half in the small. And a woman getting a get in the small yard. And what else did we say? Then we said klaim, right? And then and this is with the sugi that we're starting with tonight. If you build a fence, sometimes it can be a chumra, right? That's what we're holding. And Abaya had said that you see that sometimes a fence could be a chumra. Yeah. So, and we answered that no, it's okay. Let's take it up from there. We'll go back to what we did it in the end last night very quickly. So we'll go back and it's on Tzadi Beis Amud Beis. 2, 4, 6, 7 lines up. Right? Amarle Rav Zera la Abaya. Again, Abaya had said that sometimes you can build a mechitza and you actually end up being machmer. Meaning, normally, what's a mechitza for? A mechitza is to be mekel. Right? You put up a mechitza, now you can carry. You don't have a mechitza, you can carry. You put up a mechitza, you have a sukka. You take down the mechitza, you don't have a sukka. Right? You have a mechitza, you can plant klaim on either side of the mechitza. Right? That's the normal thing. And Abai is saying, no, sometimes a mechitza could be a chumra. And Abai's kasha was, you never see that a mechitza is a chumra. And now the Gemara is going to attempt a bunch of kashas till you see that a mechitza will cause a chumra. So Amarle Rab Zera l'Abai, v'loy metzinu mechitza le'isr. Do you not find the mechitza le'isr? V'tanan chatzer gedayla shenifratza leketano. If you have a chatzer gedayla, a large chatzer that goes into a small chatzer, gedayla muteres v'ketana assur. So we said that the large one's mutter and the small one is assur. Because that's just the door for the large yard, right? So okay, here's the. Let me switch the screen. Maybe this will help to get right. So this basically, this would be the. Oh, what happened? This is the large yard, right? This is the large yard. This is the small yard, right? So these are houses. These little Legos are the houses, but this is the yard, yeah. So this large yard. So it has a little mechitza here, right? So Mamela, I'll put it this way. So Mamela, this large yard can carry because it has these mechitzas here. The small yard has this whole opening of the small yard. There's no mechitza. I didn't assuming there's here. Hold on, let's put a thing there, right? Right, meaning there is a mechitza here, right? So all it's missing is missing a mechitza in the fourth wall. So the small yard is no good. Can't carry in the small yard, missing this whole mechitza. Here, this one could carry because it has these little things jutting out, right? That was, we said the halach in the Mishnah. Ve'ilu, then the Gemara says, ve'ilu, 3 lines up, ve'ilu hishvez akifufi gedayla nami assur. If you would equal out the part that sticks out, then the big one would also be assur. So here, if you would go like this, here, see if you look, you take here, and you see here where it sticks out a little. Let's say I take a mechitza and I fill it in. Right, I fill in the whole gap, one over there, one over there. So now there's nothing, right? There's no fourth wall for this, right? See what happened to the fourth? You have no fourth wall. We just eliminated by putting this mechitza here, this mechitza there, right? So now that's a mechitza that now will make it that this has no fourth wall, and therefore you're not going to be able to carry in the big one either. So you see that that's a case of a mechitza passing your eruv, right? So Amarle, Hasam Siluk Mechitza. So no, that's called removing the mechitzas. You didn't put up a mechitza. There was an existing mechitza there, right? If you look at what I'm doing here, there was an existing mechitza right here, jutting out from both sides. You didn't put up a mechitza. You just eliminated the mechitza by filling in the gap, right? So by filling in these gaps, now you just eliminated the mechitza. You didn't add a mechitza. So therefore, that's not a case of a mechitza making a chumra. I hope that's relatively clear. Yeah, fine. We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that soon. Okay, that's one case. Amalei Rav l'Abaya. So then the next question, Rav said the Bible, but itmar, but we learned, sikach. So here at least. We have a Rashi gave us a chart, a picture for this one. Sikach agabi achsadra sheyesh lo petzimin. So you put schach. Now again, we said an achsadra was what we call it, a portico, right? Right. So basically, it's a porch. If you put schach on top of this porch, which is by the way becoming very, very popular, I had so many people asking me about taking a portico and putting schach on top of the portico for this year. I guess it's very in style. These porticos. Yes, so sikach agabi achsadra sheyesha petzimin. Ksheira, it's kosher. So now what's the case? So Rashi says it's talking about
people are making, maybe Elio knows that. I don't know how to pronounce it. Pergola.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. A pergola, right? Pergola. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. It wasn't a. It was a pergola, not a. What's it called? What I call it? Portico. Not portico. I don't know what all these things are. Right? I mean, what is it? We have 3 options. now we have a portico, pavilion, and a pergola. I mean, everything. I don't know how the letter P got into all these three. What are the chances? The three options here. Okay, but whatever it is, so we're talking about that you have this achsadra. There's two walls with a regular sukkah, and the end of it, if you can see it in the Rashi, in the end you only have just two walls of a tefach each, right? So petzimin are just two boards. So we know that the din is by sukkah. You have to have two regular walls, and the third could be a tefach, right? So the third is a tefach. So that's what you have. You have two walls on the sides, and at the end you have two beams, one on each end, that are not beams, pillars, and that's your third and fourth wall. So it's kshera, ve'ilu hishva petzimah psula. But what happens if you take a wall, right, and you build it on top of these pillars, right? Meaning you have two pillars sticking out. Let's just use it from this, right? You have two pillars at the end of your sukkah, right? You got this wall going this way, and then you have the two pillars. Then you fill in a wall from here to the end of the sukkah. You just eliminated your tefach. You just eliminated both your tefachim, right? Because you filled in the wall there. So now you see that's a building a mechitza that's going to be machmer. It's going to make you sukkah puzzle because you just eliminated your third and fourth wall. So to me it's kosher, right? Because he holds pitikr yair v'soisim. The edge of this, what do you call it, pergola or whatever this thing is, right? Pavilion, or what was the other one? Portico. The edge of it, we look at it like it goes down. It creates a mechitza. So Abai says, according to me, it's fine. Siluk mechitza, but according to you, all it is siluk mechitzas. You're not putting up a mechitza. You're just removing the mechitza that helps you. Right? That's all you did. Okay, so Amalei Rabba bar Rav Chanan Labai v'lo mitzinu mechitza le'isur. Can you not? Again, this is the third kasha that we don't find the mechitzas isur. Atani bayis shechetzi mekoyra v'chetzi ena mekoyra. If you have a house that half of it has a roof on it and half of it doesn't have a roof on it, so now we say pi tikra, right? If you have a roof, we say the edge of the roof goes straight down. Yeah. So gefanim kan mutul izraya kan. If you have grapes growing under the house, under the roof, right? Then you're allowed to plant grain right here, even though it's less than 4 amos, because we look at the edge of the roof as if it goes straight down and blocks the two, right? So bilu hishva es kriyav assur. But then if you go and you build the roof and you extend the roof over the whole garden that you have, now you're going to have to move it 4 amos away from each other because it's all under one roof. There's no mechitza anymore. You just eliminated mechitza, right? So there you see that there is a way of creating a mechitza and making it something assur. And again, Amalei Hasam Siluk Mechitza. So no, you didn't build up a mechitza. You ruined the mechitza. You had a pitikra coming down the middle of the house, right? You decided to build more of a roof. You eliminated this mechitza. You didn't add on a mechitza to make something chayiv. You just eliminated the mechitza that was coming down. Okay, that was 3. Kasha number 4. Now we get back into another one of klaim. So Shalach leRav Abaya biyad Rav Shmaya bar Zeira. So Rav is sent to Abaya through Rav Shmaya bar Zeira. V'lo mitzinu mechitza le'isur. You don't find the case of mechitza le'isur. Vatanya yesh b'mechitzas hakerem lahakul u'lahachmer. You can have mechitzas of a vineyard, both a kula and a chumra. Ketzad kerem hanatua. If you have a vineyard that's planted ad ikar mechitza until the base of the mechitza, right? Zereya. Then you're allowed to plant your grapes me'ikar mechitza ve'elach. So you're allowed to plant from the main part of the mechitza and on. She'ilu ein sham mechitza marchik dalet amos. If there's no mechitza there, then you have to make it a distance of dalet amos. So again, we said this yesterday, right? If you're planting a vineyard, and if you're allowed to plant straight up to the wall, right? And then you on the other side of the wall, you can put whatever you want because the wall separates the two types of planting of the grapes and the grain. Right? If there was no mechitza there, you'd have to make it 4 amos away, and then plant it that way. And that's a case of a mechitza of a kerem to be meko, right? Obviously, the mechitza makes it that you don't need to keep your grain 4 amos away from your grapes. Ulahachmir, what's the case of chumra? Ketzad. We had this way back in the beginning of Eruvin. If you moved it 11 amos away, right? You have your vineyard 11 amos away from the walls. Lo yavi zera l'sham, then you're not allowed to plant over there between that 11 amos. Why? Because if there would be no mechitza there, marchik dalet amos, you'd have to make it 4 amos away from the next field and zarei and then plant it. V'zui mechitza hakerem lahachmer, and that would be mechitza hakerem lahachmer. Meaning, because you have a fence there, you have to move it 11 amos because you have to give room for the tractors, and we'll see in a minute, right? So there it's clear that the wall is l'chumra. So then the Gemara says, Amar levi l'tamech. According to you, why do you have to go to this brisa, right? Why don't you just ask from the Mishnah? The Tanan, karachas hakerem. Karachas hakerem literally means the bald spot of the vineyard, right? If you have a big empty space in a vineyard, yeah, Beshamay Oimrim, Beshamay says, Chof Dalet Amos, 24 amos. You need 24 amos of space. Upeis Hillel Oimrim Tes Zayin Amos. You don't need 24 amos. You need 16 amos, right? Machol HaKerem, and what's a machol is a circle, literally, but around the kerem, what is it? Beshamay Oimrim Tes Zayin Amos, 16 amos. Upeis Hillel Oimrim Yud Beis Amos, right? They both lower their measurements. Right, now we think, what's a big spot, right? A big empty space in a kerem. Kerem shecharav. So you say it's a kerem, but for whatever reason, the middle of the vineyard got destroyed. So if you don't have a space of 16 amas, you can't plant there because it's going to be too close to the other things. But if you do have 16 amas there, then you have to give him enough room to do his work, which is 4 amos, and then he could plant the rest. That's what an empty place, an empty part of the vineyard is. Ezuhi machola kerem, but what is something going around the kerem? Beina kerem together. That's going in between the vineyard and the fence, right? So shem ein shom yud beis am. If you don't have 12 amos of clearance between the edge of the vineyard and the fences, lo yav zera l'sham, you're not allowed to plant there. How you shom yud beis amos? But if you do have 12 amos, nice and like you give him enough room to do his work, which is 4 amos, and then he can plant the rest. Yeah. So whatever it is, you see that if you build a fence, then you're going to need more space. Right? If it's in the middle, right? So then you have that. If it's a different thing. But if you have near the fence, then you're going to need a lot more space. We said it's either 12 amos or 16 amos, depending on whether it's according to Beishan Vasil. So clearly you see that this is a scenario of building a fence and being machmer. Ella, some lav hainu time at the kol dalet amos lagabi kerem avodas hakerem. No, there 4 amos that's next to the kerem, that is part of the kerem. Lagabi geder, but for a fence, kiven delay mizdazon afkure mafkalu. If you're not going to plant next to the fence, then you're just being mafker that whole area. Why? Because you're not going to want to destroy the fence, right? The beini, but the part that's in between, if it has 4 amas, then it's going to be chashav. But if it's not, then it's not chashav enough. So therefore you need 4 amas on each side, 4 amas next to the wall, because if you're going to plant next to the wall is going to fall, meaning it's going to weaken the ground. And then you need along the vineyard, you need it so that you give the guy room to plant, right? And then 4 in the middle, and to make it its own field. And then with all that space, then you're allowed to plant different things.
So Abai is just saying for a practical reason. He's saying from a practical reason you have to do it this way. He needs room to plant. He needs the wall's going to fall. That's why he plants this way.
Yeah. But you're saying, so if that's the case, so then it shouldn't make it into halacha. You're saying, right? That's what you're asking.
Well,
let's say a guy decides he doesn't care, right? So he only needs 2 amas of clearance. So maybe you're saying maybe he wouldn't need that much. I hear.
Well, maybe today the technology would be different.
And I hear that's a good
The
point.
walls would be stronger. The wall may not, maybe a steel wall, whatever.
Right, I hear that. I mean, that could be. Yeah, that could be. I hear, but Lamaisa, they're basing it on that. So the point is, but the point that Gemara's Teretz is, the Gemara's Havamina was that by putting up the fence, you need to leave more clearance because the guy you don't want to destroy the fence. And the Gemara's answering, no, that's not because of the fence that you need the clearance. You need the clearance because you need to leave clearance in order to make the area usable for the person planting the vineyard. Okay, fine. That was not so easy. Now again, we have Rashi that gives us charts for the next Gemara. By the way, we have two more blot of this. Even though Eruvin has another 12 blots, the last parak is back. The Taisus, even the first Taisus in the next parak asks that this parak should be in Shabbos. It shouldn't be in Eruvin. So really, don't get so. We're almost done. It's another 2 blot, 3 blot, whatever it is, and then we go. But tonight is tonight there's a lot of interesting cases. Okay, so then the next case. So if the Olam remembers the case of Sheyara, right? So we said this is also way back in the beginning of Masechta. I guess it's the Gemara testing us if we have any recollection of anything, right? So we said I have a bunch of guys in the midbar, and they need to make themselves an eruv. So we said that there's a kula there that they can either use strings going this way or strings going this way. And they can just make it a makeshift eruv that way, but it has to be less than 2 sa. If it's more than 2 sa, then they can't make the eruv, right? But if there's 3 people, that's already a shayara, and then it could be bigger than 2 sa, right? So now we have like this. So we have 3 guys, right, made 3 different karfefios. I guess this is like, you have the small towns that have 3 shuls when really they can all fit into 1 shul. So here you got 3 guys stuck in the middle of a midbar, but each guy makes their own little eruv, right? Connected to each other, but each one has their own. So what's the deal, right? So if you look in the Rashi, see Rashi near the bottom there has a chart of exactly what's going on. You have 3 karfefs, 2 on each end, and then 1 in the middle. So the first case is where, like we were showing before on the Lego, where the outer ones have a kosher mechitza because they have those indentations. The middle guy is missing 2 walls, right? In the top case in the Rashi, in the picture in the Rashi, the top guy is missing 2 walls for his eruv, right? So the question is, can he combine with the other 2 guys or not? And in the second case, it's going to be the opposite, where it's going to be the outside guys. The outside guys have, and the inner guy. No, I'm sorry, the other way around. The inner guy has, the outside guys don't have, right? Because where's the outside guy's 4th wall, right? So that's what the Gemara's kashas is going to be. So I'm going to review the Gimel karfef zeh besad zeh. You have 3 karfefs. Yeah, we're about 10 lines up from the bottom. 3 karfefios zeh besad zeh. They're next to each other. V'shnayim hachitzonim megufafim. Right, the 2 outer ones have a fence that gets indented. And the middle guy does not have it. Right? V'yachid b'zeh, and there's a yachid in this one, there's a yachid in this one, and it means that there's a yachid in all 3, even though the Gemara just says yachid b'zeh, v'yachid b'zeh. That's going on the outer ones. There's also a yachid in the middle. So again, we have these 3 karfefes, 1 guy in each. Nasa kishiyara. It's considered like a sheyara, and they're allowed. They could do whatever they need. They can go as far as they want as long as it's surrounded, right? Why? Because the middle guy he's got the fences moved in, right, or indented. Yeah. And the 2 outer guys are not fenced in. Here it does add a yachid b'zeh to all 3, and there's a yachid in each one. Right? Then we're not going to give them only the 6 because each one's only going to get 2 because they don't mix together. Yeah. That's So that's the second case, first case, and the second case. Again, the first case is talking about where the middle guy doesn't have the kosher eruv, right? And the second case is talking about where the middle guy does have the kosher eruv. So when the middle guy doesn't have it, we say that they can go all combine. When the middle guy does have it, then they can't combine because the two outer guys can't combine with the middle guy. Yeah, fine. So Yiboilahu. Then they had a shaila. Echad b'zeh v'echad b'zeh. If you have one guy on each outer karfef, v'shnayim be'emtzeh, and two in the middle, mahu, what's the din? Ila hachanafki. If they three of them go out to one side, how do you read this? Ila hachanafki tlasa havi. Right? If they all go out into one, that'll be three. If they go out into the other one, it'll be three. Right? Meaning, do we say that they all? Meaning there's two guys in the middle, and one guy in each end. So there's a total of four guys. Again, looking at the case of Rashi, two guys in the middle, one on each end. Where do we put those two guys? Right? So the Gemara says, is that the way we do it? We say that we push the two guys to one side, and therefore there's going to be three in one end. No, we split each one, right? And then none of them have three, and therefore you can't carry as in the biggest area you want. You're only able to carry up to two sa. And if you say that we split the two guys in the middle, and one goes one way, one goes the other way, let's say you have two on either karfef on the outside ones, and one in the middle. So what's the din? If we take that one guy and move him to one of the outside ones, so then you're going to have three. And if you put him to the other side, there's going to be three. Or do we say, right? We say he might go this way, he might go that way. And since we don't know which way he's going to go, so therefore none of them have three, and therefore they're stuck only carrying within two sa. Right? So that basically the Gemara is just asking which way do we split the people. So v'hilchasa, the Gemara actually tells us what the pshat is with these two shilas. V'hilchasa bayan l'kula. We go l'kula on both shilas, right? Because I'm assuming the reason why we go l'kula is because the halacha by Eruvin is l'kula, right? So therefore we are going to say that both of them are okay, right? In both situations they're okay. Okay,
Does this Gemara go against the general rule of intim tzaleimar, the Rambam?
I haven't discussed that Rambam in a long time. Does it go against it? Why?
It brings an intim tzaleimar lehachmir, and then says you go lahalacha.
Right.
What's the Rambam?
The Rambam has a shita that if you say, and anytime it says intim tzaleimar, so you always go with the previous, meaning you have a kasha, you go with that kasha, and then you assume that the psak is like the intim tzaleimar. If you say like this, and then you move on from there, right? That's basically. So here the intim tzaleimar is l'chumra, right? But we're saying it's l'kula. Yeah. I think maybe because of Eruvin is l'kula. That must be what it is. Right?
So then why did the Gemara bring the intim tzaleimar?
Meanwhile, maybe should have switched it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got a hard enough time with Eruvin. I bring in this Rambam, this now. You're trying to make it even more crazy than it is. I mean, chas v'shalom, not crazy, but complicated. Okay, ready for the next one? Now we got to go back to the Lego. I got to break up the Lego to get back to our case. Oh man, I squeezed it down too much. Can't believe it. Hold on a second. Just for clarity, because this next one is back and forth, like not stum. This Gemara, it's like one long Gemara. It's not really so complicated, but whatever. Let's see. Hold on a second. Hold on. Squeezed it down too tight. I can't believe I'm doing this here, but let's hope that this clarifies it a little bit. Okay, so now on the bottom of the Amud, so Amar of Chista, Gidud. Now a Gidud means a fence, right? Yeah, so you have a Gidud. I'm going to try and try and show the Olam what this is. Okay, so now a Gidud is a fence that's partial. It's partially one way and partially the other way. All right, so here, meaning you have right here we have a chutzner. These are the houses. This is a chutzner, right? And then we have a chutzner here. In the chutzner. Between this upper chutzner and this lower chutzner. There's a wall here. That's a drop. Question is, does that wall act as a mechitza or not? So there's going to be a whole lot of variables coming and going here. Again,
how big is the wall? How big is the drop?
Oh, so that's going to depend. Exactly. So here, right? That's mamash how it's going to, let's see. So gidud chamisha or mechitza chamisha. If the drop is 5, right? And mechitza is 5. And then it has a mechitza of 5, right? So 5 and 5 is 10. Ein mitzdarfin. Rav Huna is saying they do not combine. Either this one has to have a mechitza totally here, right? It's got to have a mechitza for 10, or this one is got to go up, right? But meaning he's basically saying we don't combine a drop off and a mechitza to combine, which is not like we said, because we have this a lot in our eruv, right? We discussed this way back in the beginning of Eruvin, where you have the seawalls, right? The seawalls basically in Harbor View. We use it. We also use it by Seagirt, by the end on by Beach 9th Street. Well, not really Beach 9th, Beach 7th Street, where you have the seawall where the wall goes down into the water, and then there's some wall that sticks up. So we use a combination of the two, which we'll see later in the Gemara, because we don't pass them like
bulkheads.
what? Like a bulkhead, yeah, like the bulkhead. Correct. So we're gonna see that we don't pass like the sheet of the Gemara is saying now. But gidud chamisha, again, the top line, gidud chamisha or mechitza chamisha. If you have the drop is 5, and then you have a mechitza of 5, they don't combine. Actually, either you have to have 10 here, or kula mechitza, or the whole thing has to be mechitza. Meisvei, right? That's what he says. So meisvei. He has the kasha shtei chatzeres zula malamizu. If you have 2 chatzeres, one on top of the other, which is what we're talking about here. Here's the top one. This is the bottom one. And the top one is higher than the tachtoina by assur tefachim, meaning if this drop is 10 tefachim, or if there's a mechitza that's 5, and this drop is 5, ma'arvin shnayim. Then, if you have that, then they can make 2 separate. Meaning that's a considered a mechitza, and they can make 2 separate eruvs. But you can't make one big eruv between the 2 of them because there's a mechitza here, right? Pachas mikan. But if it's less than 5 and 5 ma'arvin echad, then they can make 1 big eruv. Vein ma'arvin shnayim, they can't make 2 because the drop off is not big enough. Whatever it is, you see from this brisa beferish, not like Rav Huna, because this brisa says 5 and 5 does equal this drop off of 5, and then the 5 on top is going to equal 10, right? That's vaker from Rav Huna. So I'm sorry, from Rav Chista. I keep saying Rav Huna. Rav Chista, go ahead.
Guys, a really stupid question. If a mechitza stops it, right? Because it's 5 and 5, and it's a full mechitza, right? And stops it.
Right.
How do we have an eruv in the whole farakwa? There's mechitzas in the middle.
No, it doesn't stop. What do you mean? There's mechitzas that go all the way across?
I'm saying the willow court. There's a mechitza all around, so that shouldn't stop the farakwa eruv.
No, because because there's an entrance. There's an entrance. Right?
Uh-huh.
You're right. It's not a stupid question. You're right. If somebody built this big mechitza, an impenetrable thing, in the middle of the eruv, right? Fences with no gate whatsoever, then in a chanami, maybe that wouldn't be able to you wouldn't be able to. Right? And
There's a gate on the other side. Isn't there a gate to get in and out somehow?
Right. So that's why it could all be included in the eruv.
So why can't they over here? There's a gate on each side of the thing. They get in and out somehow.
No. If you're putting a mechitza, if the mechitza is here like this, and there's a drop off of 5, and then 5 here, and there's no entrance between the two chatzeros, then they can't make an eruv together.
But they can go around.
Where's around?
Go out the front door. How do they get out?
There's no front door. No, we're not talking about that. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm saying, how do people get in and out of the chutzah?
What?
How do people get in and out of the chutzah?
How do they get through? This one could have entrance here, right?
So I can make
could have
around the
entrance
whole
here.
block.
No, but there's no in between the two of them. There's no way.
So you can't make like an eruv around the whole block, and then you can go walk around.
If you make the eruv within that, then yeah, I guess yeah.
Okay.
Right. So anyway, so that's the kasha. So Amarav Ma'ida Rav Chisda b'tachtaina hayol v'raya pnei assur. No. So now here we change it. Rav Chisda saying that when he said that when you have 5 and 5, now this is what you got to look at the Lego. If you really, I mean, you don't have to, but I'm trying to make it more. When you have 5 and 5, so this drop off is 5 and 5 here. So Rav Chisda was saying that doesn't work for up here, but for down here it works, because right here, if you're standing here, you look up, you got a mechitza of 10, right? So when Rav Chisda said the mechitzas don't combine, that's for up here, because all they see is if you're standing here, all you see is a mechitza of 5. You don't know that there's a drop off on the other side, right? But if you're standing in here, you see a mechitza of 10. Perfect, so it works. The Gemara says, "Ihachi tachtoina ta'arav shnayim v'loy ta'arav echad." If that's the case, then the tachtoina, because they have a mechitza, then they should only be able to make their own eruv. They can't combine with this, because they have a mechitza here. There's no way to get through, right? And the top guy has no fence here, right? Because this is only 5. So meaning he's totally open from one end to the other. And so how could he even make an eruv at all, the top guy? Right? No. So now we're talking about where the top one has these indentations going here, and this is less than 10 amas. So because he has these indentations, therefore he could carry in there. Right? So Gemara says, then what about the seifa? Pachas mikan, marvin echad vein marvin shnayim. Let's say there's no 5 and 10 here, 5 and 5. Right? Then they can make 1 eruv, and they can make 2. But that shouldn't be. If they should be able to make either 1 eruv, if they were to make 2 eruvin. No. See, so now here's where this is talking about where the bottom one is totally open. So since the bottom one is totally open, you can't make 2 eruvin. You're only stuck making 1 eruv. Right? If that's the case, then they can't make their own eruv. They got to combine with this. Meaning we're saying that this is totally open. They can't make their own eruv because they don't have a 4th wall. Right? They don't have a 4th wall here. Right? This is the wall, this is the wall. If you don't utilize this wall, the drop off, which we're saying is too small, then this is totally open, which means that they can't make an eruv themselves. They got to only make an eruv combining with the big eruv. Right? They're stuck with that. So again, and al yoina and the upper chatzar, ibayis trei ta'arav, ibayis chad. But the upper one, they're good here, right? This is a mechitza for them. So if they want, they could just make an eruv to themselves. They don't need them, or they can combine with them because it comes across here, and then they have all this area, and then they can make a mechitza. So Gemara says, "In a chanami, yes, that's true. V'chikatani pachas mikan ma'arvin echad ve'im arvin shnayim atachtoino." When we said.
If 1 second, if from the bottom one looking up, there was a total of say 11 tefachim, right? And there was no way to get into the bottom one from the top one, so automatically the bottom one is excluded from the eruv.
What case were you talking about?
Is there a way the bottom one could be excluded from the eruv? Let's say that from the bottom one's perspective, there's it's 5 and 6, 6 on the wall from the top guy, and 5 from the drop off. So now, does the bottom one have any access to the top one? No.
Right. Correct.
So only the top one can have an eruv, but they both could have an eruv. separate eruvs.
They could both have their own. They could both have their own eruv. If the top one has these things sticking out right here,
Right.
then they
Right.
could. Right. Yeah. Right. Very
Otherwise,
good.
the top.
So-
Otherwise,
so-
what happens to the top one? If it didn't have those, the top one doesn't have a wall.
Right. No. Right. That's what the Gemara is saying, that the top one had to have these little things sticking out.
Okay.
Otherwise, the top one. Yeah. Very
Okay.
good. Very good. Very good. So enochanami. So Gemara says, yes, it's true. V'chikatani pachas mikan. If it's less than 10, right, between these two, ma'arvin echad ve'emar shnayim, that one can make an eruv, and they both can't. That's going on the bottom one, right? That's only for the bottom one. But enochanami, the top one would have the choice to use them, to use their own, or to combine with this. Okay, I hope that was semi understandable. Fine. Now we get into also a major. Okay, so that's the end. 1 second. Yeah. So Dorosh Marema. No, before we get to that, so Dorosh Marema Darshan Gidud Chamisha Mechitza Chamisha. If you have, like we said, a buildup of 5 and then a mechitza of 5, they are mitzdarif. Different than Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda says they're not mitzdarif, and Marema said that they are mitzdarif. Ashkei Ravina l'Rav Acha b'rei d'Rava. Amarle Tani Mar Midi Mechitza, and he said to him, did Mar learn anything by mechitza? We had a similar Gemara way back. What does he say? What it was? Right, test. It was Ayin? No, it was earlier.
Yud Aleph?
Yeah, was it Yud Aleph? I don't remember.
Yud Aleph Amud Beis.
Yeah, so way back. See, he was like saying, "You have any information on mechitza?" I'm gonna lay low. I don't know. It's okay. He's telling me he doesn't have anything. What are you saying? Somebody saying something? Okay, vehilchasa gidud chamisha mechitza chamisha mitzdarfen, like we discussed. If you have a fence, a drop off of 5, and a fence on top of it of 5, then we are mitzdarf, which we do use in our eruv. I don't know, Parrot, you could probably fish the picture out from who knows when, in the middle of the summer, of the drop off. I don't know, you don't have to, but again, what do you call it?
I only have the one for the bungalows.
What?
I only have the one for the bungalows.
No, there was one that Naftali took of the seawall. What do you call it? How do you call it? The
head.
Whatever. The bulkhead. Thank you. So the bulkhead is there's a metal. What truth is we don't use the metal part. We just use the complete drop off. Use a drop off plus there's a little bit of a rise. So between the two of them, as long as you have 10 tefachim, then it works. If anybody's ever going into Sutton Park, the pond in Sutton Park is eliminated from the eruv. Part of it, what we use there is like there's these wood fences, and then that those are not 10 tefachim. If you walk by it, it's clearly not 10 tefachim. It's maybe a foot or 2 feet off the ground. So what we're using the drop off that combines with that, right? That's how we paskin. Yeah, fine. So boy Rav Hashio, let's start this sugi now. But this is also another big sugi in Eruvin. Hopefully it's never negeya. But boy Rav Hashio, the yurin habayin b'Shabbos ma'ar sheyasru. What happens if you have new people that move in on Shabbos? Right? So what's the din? Can they assur or not? Right? Now how do you get a case of people moving in on Shabbos? Right? So now the Gemara says, Amar Rav Chisda Tashema, he's going to ask he's not going to ask, he's going to try and prove it. Again, our case of you have a large field, okay, let's switch back to the video. That's not really so necessary. But again, you have a large yard, right? Large yard right here. That got this wall broke. Forget about that. It's lowered. It's not negated now, right? The large yard broke. The wall broke into the small yard. So we're saying the large one is mutter, katana asura, and the small one's assur, right? Again, because the small one is missing its total fourth wall. Because this is like the doorway of the gadol, of the big one, right? Yeah. So therefore, what's a kasha? Right?
When did it break?
So
When
now,
did it break? When did it break?
Oh, exactly. So very good, doctor. Excellent. You should give the share, doctor. You make it easy, make it clear, right? So then it broke on, the Gemara's thinking now it broke on Shabbos. So if it broke on Shabbos, that means you're adding people into your eruv, right? Now these guys, if you want this eruv to be kosher, yeah, then that means that these people are included. Again, these people's eruv is done. Again, there was a wall here. it broke in middle of Shabbos. We're saying these guys are done, they can't carry. These guys are fine. Why? Because this is considered a door, which means now these people became included in these people's eruv, right? But when did that happen? Happened on Shabbos. So you see, new people moving in on Shabbos are not going to make it assur. That's the Gemara's thinking. So, which is what I thought, which is why I had such a hard time understanding this Gemara. Like, what do you mean? It broke before Shabbos, not on Shabbos, which is exactly what the Gemara answers. It broke before Shabbos. So these are not new residents that came on Shabbos.
If it's a door, then the small people could carry also, right?
If it's a door, yeah. If it didn't break all the way, right? Let's say there was a little bit here, right? A little bit of fence was left over here.
Then both can carry, then they join each other and both can carry.
No, they would not be able to join each other. No, because they didn't make, unless they made an eruv with each other. The assumption is they didn't make an eruv with each other because there was a fence there, right? So then, no.
So then what do they join? What do they mean? What do they mean joining?
They're not joining. They can't join. Well, again, when this fence falls down on Shabbos, right, you have a fence right here. Yeah, very nice fence. 10 tefachim. You can't. These guys cannot access these guys. Right. That's what happened. Friday night. These guys can't access these guys. Then all of a sudden, this wall breaks. Right. Okay. Now these guys, this guy's fourth wall totally gone. Their eruv is puzzle. Right. Their eruv is shot. They don't have a fourth wall. Right. These guys are fine because they have. This is just acting as a door to them because the fences are here. They still have fences here, right? Again, assuming as long as this is not bigger than 10 amas. So, but what happened? They didn't make an eruv, right?
Who didn't make an eruv?
Now, how come these guys, they didn't make an eruv with each other? How come these guys don't passel this eruv, right? It's as if new guys moved in on Shabbos, but we're saying no, that's still kosher. These guys are good.
Those guys are good because they didn't lose their wall.
Correct, but now they've been saying this is a door to a new eruv. That means that these guys are part of here. Otherwise, meaning they're.
So then why can't they carry? So then why can't they carry?
The guys, they can only carry here. They can't carry here. They could carry here, but what do you mean? You have all these new residents that moved in all of a sudden on Shabbos.
But the new residents can't carry
literally. They didn't move it. They didn't move in literally, but they now have access.
But what we're calling the new residents can't carry either. Can't carry anyways.
Correct.
So does it affect their eruv?
They're part of this guy's eruv now. They're being adopted, like we said yesterday. But these guys,
shouldn't they be able to carry?
They can't because they don't have a mechitza. They never made an eruv together.
Right. I'm saying you're
again. These guys cannot carry. Naftali, these guys cannot carry here. They can't. Nobody. Correct. These guys can't carry here. These guys can't carry there. But their eruv is still kosher.
Correct, but then you want to use them to passel their eruv. That's what I'm saying. If they're not part of the eruv, they're not part.
No, so we're saying that they're kosher. This eruv is still kosher, meaning these guys don't passel the eruv.
But you want to bring a riot about new people. But you want to bring a riot from about new people. Then they're not
these are new people.
But they're not part of the eruv.
But they don't have a choice. They're connected. Now they're connected. You can't. They're part. You have to. These guys are coming onto this eruv, right? So these mechitzas at least, right? So they're automatically connected. There's a connection.
Even though they can't carry, even though they don't have enough mechitzas to carry.
What?
Even though they can't carry.
Yes.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
One second. No. I think no. I think I hear what you're asking. You're saying what?
If they can't carry, they're not part of the eruv. They can't ruin the eruv. You can't burn the edge. You can't burn the candle on both sides. You're using them to passel, but they can't join.
Right. Okay. So one second. Okay. So the pshat is, I don't know. Maybe I said it incorrect. So you're basically these guys can no longer carry. Correct. Did I say it's kosher? Or I said it's puzzle.
You said the smallest they can't carry. It's puzzle.
No, the small is no good. The large is good. That's no. I'm saying. But which one is making, meaning these guys are now, why is I'm sorry. Let me erase the whole thing. Okay, let's start again. This fence broke, right? This fence broke. Now these guys are assur to carry. These guys are mutter. Why are these guys assur to carry?
They don't have mechitzas.
But they do have a mechitza. They can connect around this way.
Okay.
But we say they can't. Right? So the Gemara is thinking, why can't they? So first we're saying because they don't have an opening here. But what about there? So saying no, because these guys are considered new members of this chutzah because they have to come on to this chutzah, and that's not good. They have new members that weren't part of the eruv. That's what the Gemara is thinking now. So therefore, it's no good. Right?
So the big chutzah is considered new members.
Well, they're both considered new members of each other, but Ikar here we're saying that it's assur because these guys are big new members of this guy's eruv.
This is a Havamina that just happened on Shabbos.
Correct. This is as if it fell on Shabbos. And therefore we're saying that the reason why it doesn't go is because it happened on Shabbos. So the Gemara says, no, Amar Rabba, Amar mi ba'od yom nivra. So no, it didn't fall on Shabbos, it fell before Shabbos. Right? Right? And then it has no shaykhis. It has no shaykhis to whether these guys moved in or not. Right? Yeah, so Amar le Abai, let's just Amar le Abai, loitem amar Amar elevadai mi ba'od yom nivra. So don't say that maybe it broke. It for sure it broke on Shabbos, on Friday. The Amar hu the Amar ba mi name of Huno, ba mi name of Yehuda, eruv derech haPesach. Somebody makes an eruv through a doorway, right? So we said, like, if you have two fences, you have one fence in between, right? If you have one fence in between two houses and has a door, you're allowed to make an eruv, right? So eruv derech haPesach, v'nistam haPesach, and then the doorway got closed up. Eruv derech halayin, v'nistam halayin. If you make an eruv through a window and then the window got closed up, mahu, and what's the din? V'amrli Shabbos kivan shehutra hutra. So we say on Shabbos, since it was mutter, meaning once an eruv is kosher from before Shabbos, even if the scenario changes, the eruv remains kosher. So the same thing here. If once the thing busted before Shabbos, right, or if it didn't bust, whatever the status was, if it was kosher before Shabbos, then even if people move in on Shabbos, however it does with a broken fence, etc., it's not going to passel up the eruv. Okay, so then the next Amud, Bez Hashem, will be talking about if an eruv becomes passel on Shabbos. Okay, fine. I hope that was semi-clear. But if not, I apologize. All right. Fine. All right. Have a good one. Yes. That's what we're talking about. It wasn't that case. It was a different case. Very quiet oilam tonight. Makes me a little sad. Makes me a little sad, but yeah. Oh, Avrami Biegas is left. He just left. Shoot. Zev Ball. I meant to tell you.
Yeah.
That the garbage can with the we saw it, the dirty diaper, garbage can is fine. All you need to do is put it into a bag, as long as it doesn't smell.
If you don't put it into a bag,
no, then it's a problem. Then you can't have it in the room that you're dominating.
No,
what if your garbage bag
doesn't smell? It doesn't smell. The Shiloh wasn't just toy in the room.
Right? No, but yeah.
You have diaper, you put it in the garbage, but it doesn't smell.
No, then it's fine. As long as it's covered.
Then it's fine.
Yeah, so you're saying if the garbage can is open.
Yeah, but it doesn't smell. You put it together with all the other stuff for Shabbos. It really doesn't smell. You don't smell anything.
Right, I hear.
Still should be assur, no?
Why?
What?
It's a graf shel-re'i. You can't daven by a graf shel-re'i.
You're allowed to bench in a room like that in the kitchen. The garbage is in your kitchen, and you're benching for breakfast table in the morning.
And there's a diaper in the garbage?
There's a diaper in the garbage.
You're not allowed to.
Why? It doesn't smell.
It's a graf shel-re'i. It doesn't matter if it smells or not. If it's there in the room, you can't do it.
Graf shel-re'i.
No. It has to be something disgusting. Well, okay. That's for muktzah. Tzviakov is makel on muktzah. That any garbage basically is a graf shel-re'i. Your five of the mashal is very machmir.
Well, I mean, hold on a second. I'm not Mako. Not me.
We've had this out before. I asked you once already.
Garbage?
The garbage can is graf shel-re'i or not?
Can is muktzah.
Is what?
It depends. Stam a garbage
Enjoy
can?
puppy.
Yes.
No, it's still a garbage.
Stam a garbage?
Stam a garbage on Shabbos. No. In the kitchen. You threw out all the gefilte fish, the old thing in the children, the leftover children. You just put it in.
Right.
It's a graf shari or not?
If you don't like it, if you don't like the thing, then yeah. But in what way? What do you mean graf shari? You can't take out your garbage? Is that what you want to say?
No, for davening. I was saying there's two different things over here.
Right.
Davening in front of a graf shari and graf shari shel muktzah, two different halachas.
Right.
I was just saying that you're a little bit more makel than some by graf shari of muktzah.
Am I allowed to bench in the kitchen if I eat breakfast and there's a dirty diaper?
No.
Why?
No. Because you're not allowed to bench.
It has to be covered.
Yeah, but you got to put it in a bag or something.
Why? Because of the smell?
Even without smell.
So, but if the garbage can is closed, then it's like it's not there.
Yes, if the garbage can is closed, it's fine. Right? But no. You're asking. Let's say the garbage can is not closed.
Right.
So get a garbage can that closes.
No, then what?
Jesse.
What'd you say?
I said, so get a garbage can that closes and you don't have these problems.
That's true. That's what Biegus was saying, that you get a diaper genie. Right? The diaper genie solves all your problems. At least
you don't even need any of that
diapers.
stuff. My regular kitchen garbage, you get the scented garbage bags, you smell nothing.
Okay. You insist what? The mint ones?
I don't know. I think they smell like flowers or something. It smells like chemicals, but it doesn't smell bad.
I hear. Yes, anyway, so that's the din. I forgot to say it. That's as long as it's covered, it's okay. Now the shaila isn't the diaper itself considered a cover? No?
Why? Because it covers the tzoya.
You covered the tzoya, yeah. What's the difference?
Not
unless
always.
You say that
it doesn't always cover it.
That's true, but if you wrap it up, whatever. Now, unless you say that diaper, maybe unless you say that diaper itself becomes a chefetz of tzoya.
I don't know.
For some reason, I don't think they have this chefetz thing in Brisk, this shaila. I don't know. We'll find this. And, I don't know. I'm not sure if the diaper itself is considered covered.
Why should
it can't be?
Why?
Because the diaper itself is, you would consider it disgusting. You would consider it just the same as
I want to ask you, Shiloh.
Yeah.
You wouldn't touch soya, but you would touch a diaper to throw it away, right? Why? Because it's not the etzem zach.
You do the best you can not to touch it. But sometimes you do.
But when you take the baby and you clean it up, and then you wrap it up, you wrap up the diaper, you carry it to the garbage can. It's not a chefetz.
Yeah, can I be a real Jew and answer you with a question?
No.
Let's say if I took that diaper and shoved it in your face, how far would you run and how fast?
Depends if it's an Anacles diaper. Is it a kid's diaper or an Anacles diaper, right? An Anacles diaper, you'll be a lot more nichel to it.
Yeah, but
and a great grandparents?
Forget about it. Yeah.
Exactly.
You're taking the diaper. You're not taking the actual tzoya. That's what he's saying. You're using the diaper to protect yourself.
Yeah, and if I ran with it at you, you wouldn't run because it's just a diaper. It's not the tzoya.
But not if it was.
It's just as
not
disgusting.
if it was the back end. If you stuck your hand on the tzoya side and came chasing after me, I wouldn't run.
Oh, I wrap it up completely. And I run at you. You'd run the other way. You'd run a mile. Even if it was me with my hobnob leg running after you.
I run a lot faster if you didn't wrap it up.
Yeah, okay, but you'd still run. It's still disgusting.
Hanami, I don't know.
Okay, Scott, thank you.
Animal tzoya is the same din completely.
Is it the same? I think so.
Birds. And you have a bird.
We have this problem upstate by the country because Franklin fertilizes. There's a duck farm, and he gets all his fertilizer from there. And he and he manures his farm, and if the wind is blowing in the wrong direction,
Smell.
let me tell you, it's gefährlich. It's gefährlich. So when you're inside the besmedrish, it's not bad.
Right.
Right? But if you're not, the outside, it's not pushed. I remember looking into it, came out that it is okay because it was so far away, but it was
Because it's so far, right? It's a bit of closeness with soy spain.
But if it smells, it smells.
It's not. So it's Adam, the distance doesn't matter at all. So it's behemoth, the distance matters a little bit.
See, Woodstock used to smell better when it was just weed.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess it smells something like weed, so I don't know. Though I don't know what weed smells like.
Come to my block.
Yeah, I hear. All right. Anyways, I got to sign off. Fine.
I get to know.
Okay, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Good night. Stay
Thank
safe.
you. Have a good night. Thank you.